No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of AEW Dynamite Fyter Fest, night one of 4 nights. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I very much appreciate it if you're watching this live, and thank you to everybody watching on demand as well. Let's get right into it. The first of 4 nights being billed as Fyter Fest, of course, Rampage this Friday, and then next week's Dynamite and Rampage will be a continuation of the Fyter Fest. I still think they should change the name. The joke was, I guess, funny the first time. They keep using the name, whatever. Anyways, the opening match was Wardlow, the TNT champion, going up against Orange Cassidy. Best friends cut a little backstage promo, said that they were going to cheat a lot. And Orange Cassidy said he did not care what they did. Anyways, the thing about this match going in, I thought this seems like an odd match to book. Wardlow should be destroying pretty much anybody he faces, especially guys that some might label as a comedy wrestler. What they did in this match was pretty much what I expected. They tried to stretch it out as long as possible and give Orange Cassidy some moments, showing that he could hang in there with Wardlow. They did a lot of comedy in the beginning. Orange Cassidy with the hands in the pockets. You had Wardlow pulling out Cassidy's hands and then ripping out the pockets from the pants. Wardlow took down his straps. Orange Cassidy pulled the straps back up. And Cassidy even flexed. Then we got going with the match. Orange Cassidy was doing whatever it took, but Wardlow was easily in control here. And then Trent got on the apron. Chuck Taylor grabbed a chainsaw from under the ring. That was interesting. Referee was not amused. He kicked out the best friends. Orange Cassidy kept trying to play the mind games, doing the kicks, trying to keep his distance from Wardlow. And then Wardlow pulled out Danhausen from under the ring. Danhausen was going to curse Wardlow, but decided not to. However, he did what he needed to do. He distracted Wardlow. Orange Cassidy took advantage. Orange Cassidy hit an orange punch. He went for a chop block, and he took down Wardlow. Hit a DDT, but Wardlow kicked out at 1. Wardlow came back with the F10, which he hasn't used in a very long time. Orange Cassidy kicked out of that. Well, Wardlow hasn't really won any matches with that, but hey, give something Orange Cassidy to kick out from. And Orange Cassidy made a comeback, hit the orange punch, hit the beach break. Wardlow kicked out, though. And then Wardlow caught another orange punch attempt, hit a power bomb, and scored the win. He only did the one power bomb, so Orange Cassidy did not get squashed. He did ultimately have a competitive match with Wardlow. If you guys want my honest opinion on it, it was entertaining, but I don't think Orange Cassidy needed to be protected that much. I think they could have just done this match in the one segment with Orange Cassidy trying to dodge him, but eventually gets caught. I know they wanted to make it a competitive match, but man, Wardlow should be destroying somebody like Orange Cassidy in 2 minutes, and they stretched it out with all the comedy and all the interference and stuff. But I think they could have done this match in one segment. Didn't have to necessarily be 2 minutes, but I don't think it needed to be as long as it was. And then afterwards, Wardlow showed some respect. He gave Orange Cassidy a fist bump, helped him up to his feet. Very nice man, this Wardlow. TJS is here. TJS sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Tyler. I appreciate it. Says, my interest in AEW is dwindling without CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Kenny Omega. Need more main eventers soon. Lee should not be tagging. Tonight, Mr. Kite is topping the bill. Well, thanks for the little Beatles reference there, TJS. And I've heard other people saying the same thing. It definitely has left a mark with several guys out of action due to injuries. You can add Adam Cole to that list. And there's the big name MJF. Where is MJF? I know they're trying to sell the promo he did from June 1st, but to me, MJF is a big void with the AEW Dynamite shows. We had footage of Pac defending the All-Atlantic Championship in England at Rev Pro, which I guess that's fine. I think there's too many titles, but they're doing this gimmick with their title. Pac is going to go defend it around the world. That's cool. I just think they should focus on other titles and maybe do the trios titles. Kenny Omega might not be back for a while. I say just get it done. We had Chris Jericho come into the ring for a promo, and this was a good one. Jericho, he's a pro. He talked about how being friends with Eddie Kingston is a curse, a worse curse than anything Danhausen could come up with. Jericho said that Ortiz got his head shaved. Santana got taken out during the Blood and Guts match. Danielson got taken out at the Anarchy in the Arena match. Ruby Soho has a mangled arm. Jericho brought up the barbed wire everywhere match, which will take place on next week's Fyter Fest Part 2 edition of Dynamite. And Jericho revealed that it will not be the Wizard, Chris Jericho, versus Eddie Kingston. It will be the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, who has not lost in AEW. So there you go. And then backstage, Eddie Kingston had a little follow-up, and he said it will not matter which version of Jericho shows up. Jericho is going to pay with every ounce of his blood. We then had the AEW interim world champion, Jon Moxley, going up against Takeshita. I'm terrible at pronouncing these names. And this was a really good match. I mean, hell of a match from these guys. Almost felt like it could have been on a pay-per-view. It was that good. They had a feeling out process. They exchanged chops. Takeshita hit a German suplex on the apron to Moxley, and they traded some elbow strikes. Moxley busted him open, though, during the commercial break, took advantage of the situation. But then the momentum shifted. Takeshita hit a brainbuster. Moxley kicked out of that. Takeshita came off the top with a frog splash. First attempt was not successful, but then the second attempt, after he got slapped by Moxley, he got all fired up, and Takeshita came off the top. Moxley kicked out of it. Moxley hit the paradigm shift, went for the Death Rider, which is like a more intense version of the paradigm shift. Extra elevation, I guess, is how they describe it. But Takeshita escaped, almost won with a German suplex into a pin. Moxley was able to hit the Death Rider and then put on the Bulldog choke and got the tap out victory. It was a contenders match, eliminator match, whatever you want to call it. Moxley was successful, but a good showing by Takeshita. And responding to TJS has JR been demoted because JR is not on the first hour? They have JR on Rampage now. So what they're doing is having him call 1 hour of Dynamite, and then he calls the 1 hour of Rampage just to change it up a bit. Maybe try to make Rampage feel like a more important show. Your guess is as good as mine. We had the House of Black in a little video package promo calling out Darby Allin next week for Fyter Fest Part 2. Darby Allin will face Brody King. Christian Cage came out to the ring with Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus had a match against Griff Garrison, and Christian took a shot at Brian Pillman Sr., said that he was average at best, and then said that Griff Garrison looks like Jungle Boy, and that was done to fire up Luchasaurus. And this was basically a squash. Luchasaurus just beat the crap out of Griff Garrison. He won with the tar pit submission, which I guess is his variation of the snare trap. This is what I thought. I mean, not to this degree, but I thought like the Orange Cassidy match would have been more similar to this, but Orange Cassidy's one of their bigger stars, so they got to protect him. But yeah, Wardlow should have made fairly short work, and I like this. See, I'm loving the squash matches because I think too often in AEW they have to do the back and forth matches and make the loser look really good, which is important to do. But sometimes I just like to see a good old squash match where you're building this one guy up to be a monster. And that's kind of like how Wardlow is. He's a power wrestler. He goes out there. He's like Goldberg. He destroys people. Like, imagine Bill Goldberg selling for Orange Cassidy and Orange Cassidy getting the near falls on him. Like, I mean, I don't think it would have been very good for Goldberg's character. So yeah, you want to have Orange Cassidy show the heart and the spirit, the fighting spirit. But yeah. Anyways, I really liked this with Luchasaurus. And I agree with TJS. Very much like early Kane vibes. Christian's kind of like Paul Bearer directing traffic. And Brian Pillman was laid out on the timekeeper's table. And Luchasaurus chokeslammed Griff Garrison onto the table. Did not break, so he did it a second time. Broke the table. Great stuff here. This is what I've been wanting to see from Luchasaurus. If you guys remember, back to the beginning of AEW, I was really praising Luchasaurus, and I thought, like, this guy looks like a star, and they should be pushing him towards the top. I'm really enjoying this push with Luchasaurus. I love the heel persona and Christian Cage directing traffic. So far, so good with these guys. And then backstage, we had the JAS, the Jericho Appreciation Society. They were cutting a promo. They're upset because in next week's barbed wire match, they're going to be in a shark cage above the ring. I wonder if they're going to throw down some objects from above. Time will tell on that. And then we had Claudio versus Jake Hager. The announcers brought up their history, but did not mention WWE. Just they tagged together like 100 times. Of course, they were in WWE as the All-Americans. And this was a good match. These guys got the history. They got the chemistry. Claudio tried to get the big swing on. Hager got to the ropes. He had to wait for it. Crowd started a "We the People" chant. Funny how much they hate WWE, but they do that chant. Hager tried the ankle lock. Wasn't successful. Claudio busted out the old Swiss 1-9. They did not use that term. I'm not sure if WWE has that one trademarked or not. Or maybe they just don't want to use the WWE term. Cesaro, oops, my bad. Claudio eventually got the big swing on, got the sharpshooter on. Jake Hager then waved for help. JAS ran down, and Hager took advantage of the distraction, almost got the win. Kind of a dumb babyface moment for Claudio, but at least he kicked out. And then Claudio busted out a sit-down powerbomb to score the victory over Jake Hager. Like I said, good match here. We had footage of Thunder Rosa losing an eliminator match in Japan, and she'll have to defend that title in the United States. Rosa was with Toni Storm backstage. They're going full-blown with the Thunderstorm pairing, which I like. Too bad they don't have a tag team division. They'd be a good tag team for a division. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter interrupted, and Britt Baker said that the place is a disaster without her, said it's a natural disaster because of, Thunderstorm. And Rebel then brought in a sandbag and gave it to Thunder Rosa, a little inside reference. If you look up the article on NoDQ.com about Thunder Rosa and Marina Shafir, you'll know what that is all about. We then had Anna Jay versus Serena Deeb. It's 9:20 on AEW Dynamite. You know what that means. And, they throw all the women into this 9:15 to 9:30 time slot. You had that segment with Thunder Rosa. That was around 9:15. 9:20, we get the women's match, which was solid. Good match here. Anna Jay was over in her home state of Georgia, and she had a pretty respectable showing. But, this was more about building up Serena Deeb for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship match coming out at the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view. Anna Jay got the Queenslayer submission on, but Deeb escaped, and then Deeb put on the Serenity Lock, got the victory. Afterwards, Mercedes Martinez, the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, ran down. She's a babyface now. She got betrayed by Serena Deeb on Rampage, and the match was set up for the ROH pay-per-view. Martinez got Deeb out of the ring, checked on Anna Jay, and then we had Jade Cargill with the baddies and Malcolm Bivens. They were backstage, and they did a little promo from Rampage, pretty much the usual with them. I feel like most weeks, Jade Cargill just does a backstage promo. She's the TBS champion. I think she did get a match a few weeks ago or last week, but it seems like most of the time the TBS champion is just there doing a little promo, but she rarely competes on TBS. Oh, yeah, and I agree with Joey. Like, the whole NXT Women's Tag Team Titles deal was ridiculous with them breaking up Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez after winning the titles a week prior. I mean, that was dumb. Just goes to show the women's tag team division is not looking very good in the world of WWE for both the main roster and NXT. We had a Jay Lethal promo hyping up his ROH TV title match against Samoa Joe coming up at the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view. And then backstage, Ty Conti was checking on her, I guess, former friend Anna Jay, insulted Anna for lacking TV time, and said that Anna Jay needs to start making some better choices. I guess we'll see where this goes. And then we had our main event of the evening, the Young Bucks defending the AEW tag team titles, going up against Keithley and Swerve Scott. Swerve in their glory. Ricky Starks, Will Hobbs. TJS says, am I going to recap the Ric Flair event? Maybe. Not sure if I want to recap something that could be tragic, but I guess I'd have to report on it one way or another. So, yeah, I'll probably do a live stream. I'll probably watch the show. Not exactly something I really look forward to watching, but I suppose I will. Anyways, main event here. Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs, the third tag team in this triple threat. Hell of a main event here. I mean, this was a fantastic match. Another match that could have been on a pay-per-view. Very fun match here. Some of the highlights. Nick Jackson and Ricky Starks were both on the rope doing the Undertaker walk, and they both got crotched. Lee and Will Hobbs were working together a little bit against Matt Jackson. They ended up going at it later. Will Hobbs and Keithley, the big meaty guys, going at it. And Hobbs did something really cool. He came off the top with a frog splash, and he got some distance too. Lee was not in the center of the ring. He was closer to the opposite end of the ring from where Hobbs jumped. And then Hobbs also did a series of spine busters onto all four of the opponents. And the crowd was actually chanting, "This is awesome," from what Will Hobbs was doing. Will Hobbs really got to shine in this match. I mean, he did some great stuff here. Crowd was loving it. And the Bucks were doing the super kick party to Keithley. Ricky Starks helped them out, but then Starks let his guard down. Bucks took him out with super kicks. Referee got knocked down at one point. Matt Jackson tried to cheat using the tag team title, but he was unsuccessful with that. Swerve got the title, and there was a little tease that maybe he was going to use it on Keithley, his tag team partner. You know, they've had some dissension, but he ended up dropping the title. Keithley and Swerve got back into the thick of things. You had several near falls going back and forth. Bucks hit a BTE trigger, but Ricky Starks broke up the pin. Swerve and Keithley were on the verge of winning. That pin was broken up. Ricky hit a spear to Swerve. Nick broke up that pin. And then you had Swerve using the chest of Keithley to hit a dive on the outside. And Lee pounced Will Hobbs in the ring. Lee then went to the outside, hit a big dive onto the Bucks. And then back in the ring, Swerve came off the top rope with the Swerve stomp onto Ricky Starks and got the 1-2-3 victory. So we have new AEW Tag Team Champions. I was not expecting this. I did not think we were going to get a title change. And I guess maybe they felt like Keithley and Swerve needed the titles more than the Bucks. I mean, I'm just surprised because AEW usually doesn't have short title runs, and the Bucks were not champions for very long. I figured that they would have held the titles, and like we were going to get the Bucks versus FTR, winner takes all the titles. That's what I thought we were getting for All Out. So I did not see this one coming. It was definitely a surprise. I'm cool with it though. I definitely think Swerve and Keithley needed this win just because it's really felt like they were going nowhere for a couple of months now. Like they both came in hot and kind of cooled off. So I do like it, but I was surprised. And I guess the Bucks will have to challenge FTR for those titles. You would think that we're going to get that final match with them at some point. I'm happy for Keithley and Swerve. And we got like the confetti and everything, which was really cool. The only negative, I mean, they went over the top of the hour, so we had a little bit of an overrun. The only negative was that we went off the air so quickly. You know, they're holding up the titles, the confetti goes off, but then literally like 30 seconds, the show goes off the air. Like, I would like to have an extra minute or two to bask in the glory, so to speak, and really be able to let it digest. Like, I just don't like how they went off the air so abruptly. So I don't know if that's an issue with TBS. Maybe they got to do the title change at 9:57, so they get the extra time to celebrate. But yeah, it was a little bit of a letdown that they went off the air so quickly with this, but hell of a match here. Excellent main event. Good old JM Jeff Meacham sent in $2. Thank you for that, Jeff. Said, just a reminder, say yes to no DQ. Good night, everyone. Thank you for that, Jeff. And by the way, you guys, if you missed Talk Wrestling last night, we went like an hour and a half. And we had a special guest. Frankie Kazarian was on the 15-year anniversary episode of Talk Wrestling. That was really cool. So thank you to Kazarian for showing up for that. If you guys missed it, you can check it out. It is on demand on the No DQ channel, also on the Jeff Meacham Network. So all in all, really strong Dynamite this week. I think the main event and the title change really put it over the top for me. So I am going to go with an A- for this show because of the end. Like, I thought that main event with the title change was really strong. And John Moxley's match was really good as well. Claudio's match was good. Wrestling was pretty solid, and you also built up for next week as well. I really liked Jericho's promo. Probably the 1 weak point, and it wasn't even a bad match or anything. I thought it was entertaining, but I wanted to see Wardlow make short work of Orange Cassidy. So that was maybe my only criticism of the show. And the women have the usual 9:20 spot. I would like to see that changed up a little bit, give them either the opening match or just something different. I know they get the main event every once in a while, but they don't need to have the 9:20 spot every single week to the point where we can predict it now. So other than that, like a very strong Dynamite. And that's all I got. Steve-O wasn't impressed, though. He said so. Leave a comment on YouTube. If you're watching this on demand, go to the comments section and let me know your thoughts. Now, quick programming note, no DQ review Thursday night. Virtue has some prior commitments, so we are going to be doing the no DQ review Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, the usual time slot. It'll be Saturday, though, instead of Thursday. I'll post reminders on social media. Stay tuned for that. Coming up Saturday night. And, of course, Friday night, I'll be back to recap SmackDown. Hopefully you guys will tune in for that. Keep spreading the word. Tell a friend about NoDQ.com. Have a great rest of your week. And remember to say yes to NoDQ.com. See you all next time.